Have you ever woken up on a Sunday morning, looked at the clock and thought, I'm too tired, or I have too much to do, and then spent the rest of the day wondering if you just committed a mortal sin? Welcome to the Way of Grace. I'm Father Michael Aurelius, and today we're going to tackle one of the most common questions Catholics ask, but often feel too guilty to say out loud. Is it a sin to miss Mass? And more importantly, what about all those real-life situations where you're not sure if you had a legitimate excuse or if you should be running to confession? If you've ever felt confused, anxious, or guilty about missing Mass, please subscribe to this channel and stay with me until the very end, because I'm going to give you clear, pastoral, honest answers that will help you understand what the Church actually teaches and what God actually expects. Let me start with the teaching, plain and simple. The Catholic Church teaches that attending Mass on Sundays and holy days of obligation is a serious moral duty. It's rooted in the third commandment: remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. For Catholics, the way we keep the Lord's Day holy is by participating in the Eucharist, the source and summit of our faith. The Catechism of the Catholic Church, paragraph 2181, says that deliberately missing Mass on Sunday or a holy day of obligation without a grave reason is a mortal sin. Now, I know those words, mortal sin, can be scary. So let's break down what that actually means, because there's a lot of confusion and a lot of unnecessary anxiety around this issue. For a sin to be mortal, three conditions must be met. First, it must be grave matter, meaning it's a serious offense. Missing Mass without a good reason is considered grave matter by the Church. Second, you must have full knowledge that it's wrong. You have to know it's a serious obligation and that you're choosing to violate it. Third, you must give full consent, meaning you freely choose to do it. There's no coercion, no circumstances that make it impossible or extremely difficult. If any one of those three conditions is missing, the sin is not mortal. It might be venial, it might not be sin at all. And this is where real life gets complicated, because most of the time when people miss Mass, it's not a clear-cut case of deliberate rebellion against God. It's messy, it's human, and that's what we need to talk about. So let's go through real situations. Let's talk about the gray areas, the hard cases, the moments when you're genuinely not sure if you sinned or not. First situation, you're sick. You have a fever, you're throwing up, you can barely get out of bed. Is it a sin to miss Mass? Absolutely not. Illness is one of the most clear-cut, legitimate reasons to miss Mass. You are not obligated to go to Mass if doing so would be a serious burden to your health or if you risk infecting others. In fact, it would be irresponsible to go. God does not want you collapsing in the pew or spreading the flu to elderly parishioners. Stay home, rest, offer your suffering to God, watch Mass online if you can, and don't feel guilty for a second. Second situation, you're caring for someone who's sick. Your child has a high fever. Your spouse is bedridden. Your elderly parent needs you. Is it a sin to miss Mass? No. Caring for those who depend on you, especially the sick and the vulnerable, is a work of mercy. It's actually a holy act. Jesus said, I was sick and you visited me. Sometimes caring for the sick means you can't physically get to church, and God understands that. He sees your heart. He sees your sacrifice. You're not sinning, you're loving. Third situation, you're a single parent with young children and you have no help. Your toddler is having a meltdown. You're exhausted. Getting 3 kids dressed and out the door feels impossible. Is it a sin to miss Mass? This is where we need pastoral sensitivity. Is it impossible, truly impossible, or is it just hard? Because hard is not the same as impossible. Many single parents, by the grace of God, do manage to get to Mass even when it's difficult. But if there's a serious proportionate reason, if the child is sick, if you're dealing with a crisis, if the burden is truly grave, then you have a legitimate excuse. But here's the pastoral question I'd ask. Is this a one-time situation, or is this every week? Because if you're using the difficulty of parenting as a reason to never go to Mass, we need to have a different conversation. Maybe you need to find a parish with a cry room or a Sunday evening Mass, or ask another parishioner for help. The obligation to worship God doesn't disappear just because life is hard, but the Church is also a mother, and she understands that sometimes circumstances truly prevent you from fulfilling an obligation. Fourth situation, you have to work. You're a nurse, a police officer, a firefighter, someone whose job requires you to work Sundays. Is it a sin to miss Mass? Not if you have no choice. If your employer requires you to work and you can't reasonably refuse without losing your job or facing serious consequences, that's a legitimate reason. But here's the key. You should try to attend Mass at another time if possible. Maybe Saturday evening, maybe a different Sunday Mass, maybe on your day off. The obligation is to worship, and if you can fulfill it another way, you should. But if you're choosing to work on Sunday for extra money when you don't truly need it, or if you're choosing a job that deliberately keeps you from Mass when other options exist, that's a different situation. You're choosing money over God, and that's a problem. Fifth situation, you're traveling, you're on vacation, you're visiting family, you're on a road trip. Is it a sin to miss Mass? It depends. If there's a Catholic church nearby and you can reasonably get there, you're still obligated. The obligation to attend Mass doesn't stop just because you're on vacation. In fact, going to Mass in a new place can be a beautiful experience. But if you're camping in the wilderness, if you're on a plane during mass times, if there's genuinely no way to get to a church without extraordinary difficulty, then you have a legitimate excuse. But let me be honest, a lot of times I'm traveling is an excuse, not a reason. You're staying in a city with 10 Catholic churches, but you'd rather sleep in or go to brunch. That's not a legitimate excuse. That's choosing comfort over God. Sixth situation, the weather is terrible. There's a blizzard, there's ice on the roads, there's a dangerous storm. Is it a sin to miss Mass? If getting to church would put you or others in serious danger, no, it's not a sin. Your safety matters. God doesn't want you risking your life to get to Mass. But again, be honest. Is it truly dangerous or is it just inconvenient? Is the road impassable or do you just not feel like driving in the rain? So here's the pattern you're seeing. The church gives us legitimate reasons to miss Mass, but those reasons are real, serious, and proportionate. Illness, caring for the sick or vulnerable, grave difficulty, danger, situations where attending Mass is truly impossible or would cause serious harm. But tiredness, wanting to sleep in, preferring to do something else, having company over, those are not legitimate reasons. Those are choices. And if you choose something else over Mass, knowing it's a serious obligation, that's a mortal sin. Now, let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest with yourself. When you miss Mass, what's the real reason? Is it truly impossible to go, or is it just inconvenient? Is there a grave obstacle, or is there something you'd rather do? Because the difference matters. If you're struggling with this, leave a comment. Tell me what's going on. And if you haven't subscribed, please do, because we're going to keep having these honest conversations. Let's talk about what happens if you do miss Mass without a legitimate reason. You're in a state of mortal sin. That means you're cut off from sanctifying grace. You should not receive Holy Communion until you've been to confession. And this is important. You can't just skip confession and go back to communion next week. Mortal sin must be confessed. You need to go to the sacrament of reconciliation, confess that you deliberately missed Mass, and receive absolution. And here's what you say: "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been since my last confession. I missed Mass on Sunday without a good reason." That's it. You don't need to make excuses. You don't need to explain. Just confess it, receive absolution, and move forward. Now, what about scrupulosity? What about people who are constantly anxious, constantly worried that they sinned even when they had a legitimate reason? If you're someone who agonizes over every Mass you miss, who goes to confession every week confessing the same things, who can't discern between a real obligation and your own anxiety, you might be dealing with scrupulosity, which is a form of spiritual OCD. And if that's you, you need to talk to a priest, maybe even a spiritual director or a counselor, because scrupulosity is not holiness. It's a distortion of conscience that needs to be healed. The church doesn't want you living in constant fear. The church wants you living in freedom, in grace, in love. So if you genuinely had a reason to miss Mass, if you were sick, if you were caring for someone, if it was truly impossible, don't torture yourself. Trust that God sees your heart. Trust that the church's teaching is reasonable and move on. But if you're someone who rarely worries about missing Mass, who skips it frequently and feels no guilt, who treats it like an optional activity, that's the opposite problem. That's a hardened conscience. And you need to wake up to the seriousness of what you're doing, because the Mass is not just another event on your calendar. It's the sacrifice of Calvary made present. It's the body and blood of Jesus Christ offered for you. It's the most important thing you could possibly do with your Sunday. Here's what a lot of Catholics don't understand. The Sunday obligation isn't arbitrary. It's not the church trying to control you or make your life harder. It's the church protecting something precious. It's the church saying, this is so important, so essential to your spiritual life that we're making it a law, because if we left it up to you, you'd drift away. And she's right. Look at what happens to Catholics who stop going to Mass. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, they drift. They stop praying. They stop reading scripture. They stop receiving the sacraments. They start making decisions based on the world's values instead of God's. And within a few years, they're no longer practicing. They might still call themselves Catholic, but their faith is dead. The Mass is what keeps you connected. The Mass is what feeds you. The Mass is where you receive the grace you need to live a Christian life in a world that's constantly pulling you away from God. So when the church says you must go to Mass every Sunday, she's not being harsh. She's being a mother. She's protecting you from spiritual starvation. Now let's talk about holy days of obligation, because a lot of Catholics don't even know what these are. In the United States, there are 6 holy days of obligation in addition to Sundays: the Solemnity of Mary, Mother of God, on January 1st, the Ascension of the Lord, the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary on August 15th, All Saints' Day on November 1st, the Immaculate Conception on December 8th, and Christmas on December 25th. On these days, Catholics are obligated to attend Mass just like on Sunday, unless they fall on a Saturday or Monday, in which case the obligation is sometimes lifted depending on your diocese. But here's the reality. Most Catholics don't know this. Most Catholics don't go to Mass on these days, and if you miss a holy day of obligation without a good reason, it's the same as missing Sunday Mass. It's a mortal sin. So if you've been skipping these days, if you didn't even know they existed, now you know, and now you're accountable. So, what do you do if you've been away from Mass for a long time? Maybe you've missed weeks, months, even years. Maybe you've been living in mortal sin and you're afraid to come back. Let me tell you, come back. Just come back. Go to confession. Tell the priest how long it's been. Tell him you want to return, and he will welcome you with open arms because that's what the church does. We're the church of sinners, not the church of perfect people. And if you're nervous, if you don't know what to say, just tell the priest, Father, I haven't been to Mass in a long time and I want to come back. I need help. That's enough. He'll guide you. He'll help you make a good confession, and then you can receive the Eucharist again. You can come home. Now, let me ask you this, and this is the question I want you to sit with. If you knew you were going to die next week, would you go to Mass this Sunday? If you knew your time was short, if you knew you were about to stand before God, would you find a way to get there? Because the truth is, you don't know. None of us know. We don't know when our last Sunday will be. We don't know when our last chance to receive Jesus in the Eucharist will be. So why would you waste it? Why would you choose to sleep in, to go to brunch, to watch football, when you could be receiving the body and blood of your Savior, when you could be united with Him in the most intimate way possible, when you could be receiving the grace you desperately need to face whatever's coming next? If this is convicting you, if this is stirring something in your heart, share this video and let me know in the comments. Are you going to Mass this Sunday? Let me give you some practical advice. If you struggle to get to Mass, here's what you do. First, pick a Mass time that works for you. If Sunday morning is hard, go Saturday evening. If early Mass doesn't work, go to a later one. Find a time that fits your life and commit to it. Second, prepare the night before. Set out your clothes. Plan your morning. Decide what time you need to leave. Don't leave it to chance. Third, ask for help if you need it. If you have kids and no car, ask another parishioner for a ride. If you're struggling with depression and can't get out of bed, ask a friend to come get you. The community is there to help. Fourth, remember why you're going. You're not going out of obligation alone. You're going because you love God. You're going because you need Him. You're going because the Eucharist is the source and summit of your faith. Keep that in front of you. And fifth, make it non-negotiable. Treat Mass the way you treat work, the way you treat doctor's appointments, the way you treat things that actually matter. Because it does matter. It matters more than anything else you'll do all week. Let me close with this. Missing Mass is serious. The church teaches that, and I'm not going to soften it. But God is not waiting to condemn you. He's waiting to feed you. He's waiting to hold you. He's waiting to give you Himself in the Eucharist. And every Sunday, He's there in every Catholic church in the world, offering Himself to you. So don't miss it. Don't throw it away. Don't let excuses, don't let laziness, don't let the world keep you from the one thing that will save your soul. Go to Mass. Receive Jesus. Let Him transform you. And if you've been away, come back this Sunday. Don't wait. Don't put it off. Just come. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to this channel. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And leave a comment. I want to know, will I see you at Mass? May God bless you. May He strengthen you. And may He draw you close to His heart in the Eucharist.